This is a video about how to add pencil shading to a drawing. Now there are lots of different ways to add pencil shading, so this is just one of them, and it's very basic. If you don't want to wind up with a lot of lines, rather you want a nice smooth appearance, the way to do it is not by smearing and smudging, which just makes your drawing look kind of gray and flat because it takes away all the values, or the light and dark areas if you prefer. The best way to do it is to take your pencil, not sharpen it to a full point, and then slowly grind it down on another piece of paper. Let me explain. If you're to draw a line with this very sharpened pencil, it will wind up being a very thin line. If you continue to draw using this pencil in this way, you're going to find that you're going to create a series of lines, which is fine if you're drawing hair, but if you're trying to draw something smoother like skin, that can be a problem. So how should you draw skin or other smooth textures with a pencil without smearing and smudging? The answer is simply to grind down your pencil. By taking your pencil and moving it back and forth on another piece of paper, you'll find that you're able to grind down the pencil, and the pencil will therefore have a much, much wider area that will come in contact with the paper. By having this much wider area coming in contact with the paper, you'll wind up with something that, rather than being a line, will be more like shading. And then when you go back and forth, rather than having lines, you'll have a nice shaded area. That's really important if you want to avoid lines. Let's go on to how you should apply your pencil now. First, remember that if you put your hand down, if you put the side of your hand on your paper, that you'll probably smear whatever's underneath it. So it's a good idea to take a blank piece of paper and put it under your hand. The other thing is that it's very hard to make parallel strokes if you're drawing the way you ordinarily would hold a pencil. If you put your hand down, though, in contact with the paper and use the pivot point of the side of your hand, you can see that it's much easier to create parallel lines. Now here are two cylinders that I'm going to call A and B. On one of them, A, I'm going to add shading, but I'm just simply going to put in the shading kind of anywhere I feel like it. On B, though, I'm going to have the shading follow the curve of the object. Let's see what the result is. Now let's compare A and B. Which one do you think looks more round? Admittedly, they're both very crude drawings, but I think we can all agree that B is really the one that looks more three-dimensional. Why is that? There's a very important rule to be learned here, and that is shading should always follow the curve of the object. That's the problem with this drawing, A. Instead of the lines following the curve of the object, the lines of the shading are pretty much put in horizontally, whereas the lines in B more follow the curve of the object, the contour of the object. So as you're drawing, you need to take into consideration what it is you're drawing and what is the shape of what you're drawing. And then make sure that your pencil goes with the curve or the contour of your object. Good luck with your drawings.